guys! So, as you know, I deal with anxiety, so I thought it'd be helpful maybe if I did a video about dealing with anxiety on the London Underground. When I first moved to London, my anxiety was quite bad, as you know. Dealing with the London Underground was really stressful for me, and I had panic attacks when I was on the Underground. Because of the busyness, especially rush hour, I found it really stressful. So I thought I'd give you a little bit of advice about how I dealt with the London Underground and my anxiety by a few things that my therapist taught me last year. So, here are some things that I did. Okay, so the first one's really obvious, everyone says it to you, and you're probably gonna roll your eyes because whenever anyone says this to me, sorry Elena because you say it all the time, every time anyone says this to me, I'm just like, oh my gosh, I know. Take deep breaths.
Just breathe, Kirsty, breathe.
Every time anyone says that to me, I'm just like, I am having a panic attack. I'm trying to breathe, but honestly, stupid as it sounds and annoying as it is, when people say it, taking deep breaths is the best thing you can do in a situation when you're dealing with that bad anxiety. And before you go into a panic attack, I know I can feel one coming on, so taking deep breaths kind of stops it before it appears. So take deep breaths. I'm sorry I said that, because if you have anxiety, you'll know how annoying that is. Number 2 is a big one that my therapist taught me, and that's work out what thoughts are giving you the anxiety. So try and work out what the trigger is. So with me it was rush hour. Rush hour stressed me so much. I freak out. The thought, even now the thought of rush hour panics me. But I'm better than I was and I can deal with it better. You've got to think about what you're worried will happen. So for me, obviously I was going through a phase where I came to London when, even though still now the terror threat is high, it was the start of all this thing where everyone was really majorly worrying about the terror threat, or I was worried that I'd get stuck in a tunnel, because getting stuck in a tunnel scares me. The thought of being on the Underground and stopping terrifies me, because it would just be dark, and being asthmatic, I just think I'm gonna run out of breath. And so you've got to work out what them thoughts are that are worrying you, and then you have to rationalise it, which is easier said than done, but you've just to rationalise it and go, okay, this is what I'm worried about. But what's the likelihood that's going to happen? And also, if that does happen, not much you're going to do about that. So you've just got to rationalise the thought of, okay, this is what's scaring me, rationalise it, just thinking, okay, but what control do I have over this situation? You have control of your own thoughts, so just rationalise your thoughts. Also, a bit of advice, try and not go in the very front carriage. Some of the stations is very rare, but there are a few stations where they have to pull forward once they get into a station so far that the front carriage, you can't get out of the front door. So try and go on one of the, even if you're in the front carriage, go towards the back of the front carriage, because then you can get out of the train and you're not going, oh my gosh, I can't get off the train, and that will panic you. Another thing my therapist told me was to think, what would you tell a friend? I know someone who deals with anxiety as well. I know a few people actually deal with anxiety, and so when I'm having anxiety on the Underground, I just think, what would I tell them? And that is actually a really good way to deal with it, because you're like, okay, if this was my friend, what would I be telling them right now? And then tell yourself that. So you'd be saying, okay, take some deep breaths, it's gonna be okay, nothing bad's gonna happen, you're absolutely fine. And that is a good way to work through it, just thinking, what would I tell this person? The next one is something my doctor actually told me, but I have heard a few times before that anyway, and also my therapist did mention it, which is the 5 senses, which is one I always tell people. So you do 5 things you can touch, 5 things you can see, 5 things you can hear, 5 things you can taste, and 5 things you can smell. And that like kind of, it distracts your mind because you're thinking about this, and I use this sometimes. If I go quiet on the Underground, usually I'm having anxiety and I'm doing that. I'm refocusing my mind on something. So a lot of the time it's just about regulating your mind and your thoughts and your emotions. It's really helpful to like reevaluate what's going on in your mind and just distract yourself. This is quite a scary one, but push yourself out of your comfort zone. Just do it, just go. My therapist told me to go out in rush hour. That terrified me, but once I did it, I was really glad I did. And like, just going, even if it's just go to the next stop and back in rush hour, just do a stop and then tap out, go for a walk, come back, go back again. Sometimes doing something like that is really helpful. I used to just try and go to Stratford and back because just doing a bit like that in rush hour, because that was my university journey as well, it helped me get used to that journey in rush hour. So just doing something like that can really help you. It's scary, but sometimes you have to push yourself out of your comfort zone. However, rush hour is hell in London. It's very busy. There are people pushing and shoving. People have no thought for people that may have anxiety and it may be stressful for. And as a country girl, someone that grew up in grass and fields, coming down to the big city was terrifying for me. If the thought of doing something like going out in rush hour, even though it's good for you to try and do it, if that is really stressful, my advice is to do it in small steps. Don't overly push yourself. Try if you can to push yourself, but do not make your anxiety worse by over pushing yourself. Maybe take some friends with you the first time you do it, then try and do it on your own. Think about your mental health first. Also, if you're really struggling with anxiety, please go speak to a doctor. If you're in the UK, there are NHS-based therapies you can go through, so please go speak to your doctor. I don't know how it works in other countries, I'm sorry, but there is information on the internet. But please go speak to a medical professional if you feel you need the help. If you enjoyed this, I will probably do a few more anyway about dealing with anxiety, because trust me, I've had enough experience. If you enjoyed this, please give it a thumbs up. Please click subscribe on my bubble, and my last video is somewhere, and I shall see you for my next video. Goodbye!